Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Christelle Martinet, Claudia Monticelli, whatever you would like to call me. And I would like to talk today about the stones and the chakras. What color stone, where it works on your chakras, and the type of stone, and the properties of each crystal that I'll talk about. So let me start here and start with the color red. The color red works on the root chakra. What does it do? It has the properties of strength, of vitality, of healing, of stimulating, of working with anger, passion, grounding, and connection. And you probably remember in my last podcast that the color red meant vitality and strength. And you'll be hearing this, and slowly but surely you'll start to remember it. The stones associated with this are the ruby, of course, and garnets. Garnets are gorgeous stones. Garnet, red jasper, bloodstones, and coral. Anything that has red in it is red. The next color I'd like to look at is, and will, be closely associated from the red, I'll be going to orange. Orange works at the sacral chakra, or you could call it sacral chakra, however you pronounce that. And its properties are energy. It gives self-confidence, orange. And normally we wouldn't think of that, but it also corresponds to sexuality, to a sense of security, a sense of self, eroticism, and people never think of that with the color orange, and passion as well, similar to the color red. The stones that bring out this in them and work at the sacral chakra are the carnelian, gorgeous stone, topaz, orange calcite, citrine, fire opal, and orange jasper. Now we're going to the yellow. The color yellow works at the solar plexus, and the properties of the crystals that are yellow work at the level of the intellect, your wisdom, our higher planes, and it's sort of an equalizer for the nervous system. It promotes creativity, vitality. It gives off happiness. They really, really are powerful stones. And happiness and fighting depression. And this is just for that. I would say just surround yourself with these colored stones. Topaz is the yellow topaz, especially citrine probably is the best color stone and the best property of the gem that can give you this sense of happiness and vitality. It's like having the sun in your room. But also tiger's eye, yellow tourmaline, and amber as well, light-colored ambers. Now the color green. Green works at the level of the heart, chakra, and it has the properties of love. It promotes harmony, abundance, creativity as well. But we can also say affection, attraction, and energy. You'll see that the word energy keeps coming up with many of these stones. Energy, radiance, and universal supply. It's a very, very good color to meditate on for abundance. The stones, the gems that work this way are emeralds, and you would have thought about that. Green tourmaline, malachite, jade, of course, and aventurine. Aventurine are stones that few people know, but also moss agate, green jasper, green quartz, and labradorite. Labradorite has a lot of green in it, and it seems to be dark green. Now the color blue. The color blue works at the level of the throat chakra. And what is surprising, and it was surprising to me as well, is that the color green fosters inspiration and devotion, but also spirituality. And this is the first time that we hear the word spirituality as linked to a color or to a stone or a gem. It fosters truth, public speaking when you have to speak, and sharing, and your self-expression. So you might even intuit which stones fall in line with this throat chakra and the color blue. Of course, the sapphire, lapis lazuli, blue topaz, aquamarine surely, turquoise, blue tourmaline. Tourmaline comes in very different colors, as you can see, and blue obsidian. Obsidian is another very high vibrational stone if you can keep that close to you. Now we'll go to the purples, the deep indigo. These work at the third eye chakra. And here again, these last three, the blue, the purple, and the white, these last that I'm covering, you'll hear the word spiritual. Okay, the blue, the purple, deep indigo, the white, purplish white. Now with this purple and deep indigo working at the third eye, you reach spiritual attainment, self-mastery, psychic visions, intuition, dream work, and channelings. The stones that you want to keep close are the sapphire, azurite, purple fluorite, and electric blue obsidian. I've never seen one of these. I have been looking for it, electric blue obsidian. Let's see. The last of the colors is white, purplish white, and it works at the crown chakra. It has to do with spiritual mastery. Okay, so you see that we're going up, and from spiritual attainment with the purple and the deep indigo, we move on to spiritual mastery, spiritual attainment, connection to your guides and angels, cosmic consciousness, and healing. The stones, the gems that can attain this, that can foster this, are quartz, crystal quartz, all different kinds of quartz that are white or cream colored, purple jasper, clear tourmaline, purple sapphire, amethyst, of course, and fluorites, the fluorites that tend toward white and purple. Now, the next thing that I would like to cover, and last thing that I would like to cover in this podcast are the planets, because we all follow astrology a bit, and we may dabble in astrology, and we listen to astrologers, and astrologers talk of different planets, what is your sun sign, what is your moon sign, but we don't necessarily know what the characteristics of these planets are. So just to cover that, I'd like to do that now before we go on to something different in the next podcast. So let's start with that sun. Let's start with the sun and the characteristics. We have a sense of self with the sun, vitality. This is our nature, our spirit, our will, and how we use our will, self-expression and creativity. So let's say that of our planets, the sun sign is really important, and of course it's tempered with the other planets. Now let's go down to the moon. The moon sign. The moon characteristics have to do with emotions, our intuition, what's under the surface, what's hidden, how we reflect, the reflections that come to us, our instincts. This is really, really important. And the responses that we give and our needs vary. So we can put these together. If you know your sun and your moon sign, you have a really good idea of how you move, how you feel, how you act, who you are. Now, add to that Mercury. Now, Mercury is the planet. Its characteristics are intelligent, how we think. Mercury, we have our Mercury when at birth tells us how we think, how we communicate. Our minds, it gives us an idea of how our minds work, the words we use, the thoughts, writing, speak, how we speak, and logic and ideas. It gives you an impression overall of how we communicate. And it's very important. Why? Because other people see us through the way we communicate with them. And this is the key to the Mercury, the planet Mercury. Now Venus. Venus, of course, hides with it the characteristics of love, of sex, of beauty. I would even say glamour, our aesthetics and aesthetic harmony, everything to do with pleasure, passions, romance, and creativity. And pleasure is a word that I always tout. I always bring that up, seeking pleasure. As the book I'm working on is all about pleasure seeking and the importance of pleasure seeking and how you move toward pleasure and it brings you pleasure. So this planet, Venus, is high on my list of important planets, you can say. Let's go down to Mars. Mars is a planet that gives us, tells of us the way we are active, how we assert our ideas, the force that we project, the conflict that we entertain with others, anger that we may have, how we compete with others, the action that we take, and the drive behind us. And it really does speak about when something doesn't go our way, how you react. And it tells others a lot about what they can do to you when they press your buttons. And that's, what can we do? We're flesh and blood. We're not robots, so sometimes we can't control that. Then Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet of generosity. It talks about our generosity. It talks about expansion, enthusiasm, fortune, our fortunes, optimism, and our truths. And this is really important because our truths are basic tenates that we always base whatever we do on. And Jupiter, however, also is about being outgoing. Jupiter is I call it a wild planet because it is everything about extending yourself and your optimism. Optimism is an outgoing energy. Now, enough about Jupiter. Let's go down to Saturn. Saturn is a planet of structure, of discipline, of control, of wisdom, of our career, luck, and our boundaries, the support systems that we have in place, and karma. So Saturn is an energy that is very, very important. It tells people and ourselves about how we move, when we move and when we don't, because it's about control. Our higher truths, our wisdom, and what we consider to be luck that others don't. Now let's go on to the planet Uranus. Uranus is all about awakening, all about change, all about innovation, all about having breakthroughs, all about originality, all about invention, and unconditional, there it is, this is the word that I'm looking for, unconditional attitudes. Okay, so Uranus is a very, I don't want to say changeable, but it is a planet that sparks our curiosity when we want to innovate, when we want to create, and when we want to look to that added ingredient ingredient that makes us different and sets us apart from other people. Neptune. Neptune is the planet of imagination, of mystery, of inspiration, of intuition, of compassion, of love, of dreams, our ideals, our fantasy world. You'll hear a little bit of overlap, of course, like intuition is something that we've heard before in other planets. But Neptune is really about mystery, about the way mystery feeds our fantasy worlds, about how we project love, about our dream world, and how we extend compassion as well. Let's go to Pluto. Pluto is about, here too, transformation. When you hear Pluto, you'll start thinking transformation. It's about money, death, change, and rebirth. Okay, so money is a medium, and it flows and it transforms the way things can come about. When you have money, it gives you a number of options and choices to be made, and you can change the way you do things. It's transformation. Death definitely is transformation. Change obviously transforms. Rebirth is a transformation. But also our drive, because our drive brings us to change. Our fears also bring us to change what we do. Pluto brings us to renew ourselves, brings us to renewal. And it also distinguishes, now listen up, distinguishes the limits of our consciousness. Now, the last thing that I will cover in this podcast is the North Node. What is the North Node? The North Node is where the moon is in relation to other planets when you were born. And you can find this if you go into the internet. I'm sure you could find that. And what does that point to? It points us to our destiny, to our personal growth, to our spiritual growth, and to our karma. So, ladies and gentlemen, go and look where all your planets are on your chart and get a better sense of who you are and where your buttons are and how people can push them and what your strong points are and what you're really meant to be doing here. What is your soul's journey really all about? Have a nice day, ladies and gentlemen. Namaste. And until I come back. Bye-bye.